We're going live. Going live. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so welcome everyone to Working Music. We're poetry and song with Gregg Shapiro and Jim Andralis. I said it sounded and welcome to the Bureau of General Services Queer Division. My name is Greg Newton. I am the co-founder of the Bureau along with my partner, Jokum. And this is our one and only August event. We keep a light calendar in the summer, relax. But thank you for coming out tonight. We do have a suggested donation of $10, but give what you can if you can. And I'll pass this around. There's change in here if you want. You can also Venmo us, anyone online, at DESQD, those 5 letters. And if money is tight and you'd rather buy a book, by all means, hold on to your money and buy it. And before I turn it over to Harry Brass, who will be our MC for the evening, I just wanted to read the land acknowledgement. So the Bureau acknowledges that our organization operates on the unceded land of the Munsee Lenape. We encourage you to join the Bureau in signing up to make a monthly donation to the American Indian Community Houses Mannahatta Fund. So the Mannahatta Fund, according to its website, is an invitation to all settlers and non-native people who wish to acknowledge the legacy of theft and genocide that comprise the history of New York City and the United States. You can find out more at mannahattafund.org. And with that, I will turn it over to the author and extraordinary human being, Harry Brass. Please give it up. Thank you. Sorry about the rhythm section that wasn't invited. There it is.
We're competition here. Well, it's wonderful to be back at the Bureau, which I really love, and love Donnie and Greg. Did you hear that? I mean, this whole place is so extraordinary. It's just, it's a gift to the community. And another gift to the community is Gregg Shapiro. I mean, I think this wonderful line and tradition of writers who really are part of our community. But before I introduce Greg and Jim, I asked Greg if I could read one poem. And I want to read a poem that's dedicated to O'Shea Sibley. O'Shea's death just shredded me. I took it so personally. I mean, but the days afterwards, I was in this state from it. And I think a lot of it did that to a lot of New York. And my fear is simply that they'll put that poor man on trial rather than his killer. And I hope that does not happen. So, O'Shea, you were killed bare-chested at a gas station in Brooklyn by a kid who didn't like tall black men dancing at night, with the lights stark and cutting around them, making deadly halos out of the silence surrounding Beyonce's songs that blasted through time, that stopped and confronted an anger that had nothing to do with your dance. But with you, tall and beautiful, articulate of body, wise of eye, soft of mouth, long fingers, wide shoulders, black chest. And there you were, with the kid shooting you on his phone. And you stepped up into that void of hot summertime while others watched until you fell, stuck, bleeding. And your friend Otis held you and pressed the blood with his hand until the ambulance arrived. And we were crying, all of us there, all of us seeing. your friends and 10 siblings and family and rows of marching people crying, only knowing when you died at Maimonides Hospital that a real part of us had known death, had felt it deep in the rolling rivers of your life, with strong hands carrying your body. So, about Gregg Shapiro. Gregg Shapiro is the author of 9 books, including the poetry collection Fear of Muses from Souvenir Spoon Books, 2022. His poetry and fiction have been published in numerous literary magazines, anthologies, and textbooks, including the Pen Review, RFD, Gargoyle, and Limp Wrist, and the anthologies Moving Images, Poems Inspired by Film, and This Is What America Looks Like. An entertainment journalist whose interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ and mainstream publications and websites. It says Shapiro. Gregg. Gregg lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with his husband, Rick, and their dog, Coco. And I've met Rick, and they're both wonderful. And here's a short bio of Jim Andralis. He's a New York City-based songwriter, singer, and possibly your psychotherapist. He performs solo with the Syntonics with husband and hunk Larry Crone. This Monday, he's performing at Joe's Pub as part of Larry Crone and Family. What a difference. Well, I think this is going to be a difference. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope I know we'll have a wonderful time.
Thank you, Perry. This is very exciting because I think the first time I ever read at the Bureau was when you were on the Lower East Side, and I believe I read with Jerry Roscoe, who's also here. So this is kind of cool, like a little full circle thing. And the last time was 4 years ago when we did one with Jill Sobule here in this space, and that was really fun too. So anyway, so thank you all for coming. I'm very grateful. I'm just going to jump right in here. I'm trying to think. I'm going to read. This new book is about place. There's a lot of, that's an important part of it. So it kind of moves around into different locations. So I'm going to open with the first book in the poem, which is called, the town that I'm mentioning is a suburb of Chicago. The poem is called The Slums of Skokie. We lived on the wrong side of the tracks. We grew up on the wrong side of 2 sets of tracks, freight and commuter. The first set of tracks crossed by car or foot when heading north from Chicago on Nile Center Road, called Central Avenue in the city, belonged to the freight lines. You could be delayed by these long, lumbering trains at the intersection of Main Street and Nile Center Road, traveling north and south, as well as east and west. Clattering, screeching wheels, clanging bells, and red flashing lights impeded any progress at these tracks. Maybe 50 feet away, the second set of tracks, operated by the Chicago Transit Authority, led riders to and from the Skokie Swift station. Rapid transit from Howard Street in Chicago. These tracks had an additional layer of deterrent. Pedestrian protection with pairs of raising and lowering crossing gates adorned with blinking warning lights, black and white angled stripes. As trains whizzed by in opposite directions, on schedule, depot bound, passenger packed, they whistled, sometimes in unison, like the loudest tea kettle on the stove. Just east of the tracks, north of Main Street, past the gloomy power station that surfaced dark, gothic, and foreboding in neighborhood scare lore and kids' shared nightmares, a series of streets
each only 1 block long, studded with apartment dwellings built in the 1920s to the 1950s, 2, 3, and 4 stories high, 2 flats, 3 flats, co-ops. The random townhouse complex here and there. If you lived on this eastern stretch of Elm or Lee Street, Wright Terrace or Greenleaf, Conrad or Crane, you knew your status, situated on the wrong side of the tracks. You didn't even have to squint your eyes that much to see the big brick post-war construction, split-level single-family homes west of the tracks, west of one of Skokie's terminal avenues, to grasp that you had drawn the shortest possible stick, sharpened into the kind of weapon you'd need for protection from your wrong side of the tracks vantage point, sure to poke your eye out as you ran with it, fast and far from the dividing line, rails raised and rusted, real or imaginary as trains rumbling through every reverie, every sleepless hour. So I'm gonna read a second poem and then I'm gonna have Jim come up. There was a whole discussion about this the other day in reading it in Baltimore. So I'm gonna spell this word. And I'm gonna see, okay, so this is the word, Halvah. So where I come from, we pronounce that halva. Where a lot of the other people came from, it's halva. So do we have to take a poll? Like who says halva? Anybody? Okay. Anybody who says halva? Okay. Okay, then my team wins. Okay. So I'm gonna go with my pronunciation. So this is called halva for breakfast. An acquired taste developed when I was young. Oh, sweetest of treats revealed in weekly Sunday visits to Grandma and Grandpa's apartment when they still lived half a block from Devon Avenue in West Rogers Park. The grandfather who shared my zodiac sign and hazardous sweet tooth joined me in the revelry of the oily grit of the stone ground seeds, sweetened to the point of shivers and aching fangs. The best imaginable alternative to the desert dry pastries from Gittles or Tel Aviv Bakery, stale Heinemann's or Grandma's burnt oven-baked confection, pre-packaged in a glossy plastic wrapper with the Joyva label and turbaned and mustached man logo, or displayed as a loaf, big as a layer cake in bright fluorescent illuminated delicatessen pastry cases. I found it, or it found me, even when I didn't know it was a craving, an unspoken desire. With an experienced, discerning palate, I could pick out the subtle sesame notes amidst the overwhelming, sugary, creamy vanilla sweetness. Always vanilla, never chocolate covered, although there were rare occasions when marble or pistachio called my name with a familiar yet exotic old world accent. Never tell a soul it is your favorite dessert. Otherwise, such unguarded intimacy results in a wide range of reactions, wary glances, and endless strings of questions. The texture. How can you stand the sandy feel on your tongue, grinding against your molars where it lodges like a filling? Or else it is showered upon you at every gathering and celebration. Gift wrapped or brown bagged, you recognize it by heft and refrigeration chill. This is how I ended up finishing the last slice and crumbs of a pound hunk for breakfast on this sunny January Florida morning. There are worse things to intake at this hour, but for now, I can't think of a single one. Thank you.
Aye. Um, I guess I will start by just saying thank you for scheduling this for us. Thank you, Greg, for asking me to do this. I feel like I've never had the experience of like meeting a pen pal, but I imagine it feels like this, because this is the first time that we're meeting in person. And Greg, you were somebody who was very generous toward just like listening to my work in a way that very few people ever have been. And there's something that over the course of, I guess, the last couple of years, like, I guess I learned that you were a poet, and I read this last book, and it really just, I feel like it touched me in a really deep place in a way that was like, oh, I get the way that we're connected. And I think that a lot of it was just like the feeling of that. And so I just feel really lucky that you think of me as somebody to ask to share this thing with you. So anyway, it's nice to see everybody here. I also feel like you were a bar customer of mine, possibly second round.
What bar?
Phoenix or the
Yes,
bar
that's possible.
many years ago. You too, Harry. See, that's why you look familiar to me.
That's small.
Well, I hope I was nice to you. Yeah, I was gonna start very dark, but I think I'm gonna start just like speaking of like place, and I wrote this song in response to Hugh Ryan's book When Brooklyn Was Queer, and I was thinking about like what kind of queer I might have been in like turn of the century Brooklyn. And I mean, unfortunately, I just imagine myself closeted and just watching how people live their lives. And I also just think a lot about how, like, you know, we were talking about Lindsey Graham and just like what it does to you when you hide. And I think that at a certain point, we hold compassion for people when they're in that particular kind of lonely pain. And then I think at a certain point, it just becomes like actually really dangerous. And I always wonder like what the point is, like what the moment in time is. Anyway. Oh no, here I am again, staring when your back is turned, trying to memorize you. I guess this is how I learn. Come on, Jimmy. Okay. I'll tell you, you're mistaken if you should ever ask. But I find myself taken by the curve of your back, by your hair when it's wet, by your skin when you sweat, by the hours you keep, by your breathing when you sleep. Wow. Lately, when I think of you, I forget my yourself. If you really are a human being, then I must be something else. I don't believe my body does the things that yours can do. But here we are in Brooklyn now. I think I'll live near you, near your shoulders in the summer sun, near the songs you sing, near the places you run, near the letters you get from someone who misses you. You don't know me, but I live in Brooklyn too. I live in Brooklyn too. I live in Brooklyn too.
I'm really lucky. I have this weird job. Like my day job is on entertainment shows. I just get to meet like the great people. I mean, I interviewed Sammy a few years ago, and I know I've interviewed many of some of Robert and Ray's clients, and it's really exciting. It's the best job I've ever had. It really is. I'm not even kidding. So I have a couple of how poems. How. This is how you know you are in Eastern Tennessee. Maps and atlases swollen with cities and towns ending in ville. A woman with a 1-week-old bottle-fed goat kid and an over-the-shoulder baby carrier shopping for baby goat clothes in a thrift store. Churches and steeples, steep grades and runaway truck maps, mouths wrapped around matchsticks and toothpicks, free Bibles, kitten roadkill, Christian radio on almost every station, pickup trucks, vintage and new, rusty and polished, questionable oral hygiene, unreliable cell phone reception, Jesus fish and Bible quote bumper stickers and billboards, livestock behind electric fences, leashless and collarless dogs roaming the roadsides, smokers' coughs, white skin, tattoo parlors, and crowded AA meetings, ancient Dodge caravans with stick figure family decals stretching from one end of the rear window to the other. The scent of barbecue tinting the air. Cautious greetings and hesitant conversation until your church affiliation can be definitively verified by only the most reliable of sources. This is how to flirt. Listen to Doris Day singing, "Once I Had a Secret Love, no more than 214 times a day, or an amount equal to your heartbeat on especially lonesome or love-soaked Valentine's Day, when you were 9 or 19 years old. Avoid singing or humming Que sera, sera, like a cheating ex. Otherwise, whatever will be, won't be. Bat your eyes, but try not to think about baseball bats, Christian Bale as Batman, vampire bats, or batty old ladies like Aunt Clara on Bewitched. Be bewitching without twitching or casting an irreversible spell. Spell it out in letters big enough to read from a great distance. Keep your distance from boxes of chocolates, bouquets of flowers, anything associated with allergies and fevers of the flesh. Flush out as much as you can about his past, your past lives lived among roaming tribes, romantic royalty, plundering pirates, or tricky tricks. Obsessed over his handsome profile on social media sites you wouldn't ordinarily frequent without an experienced guide, instruction manual, or some form of protection. Frequently check your breath, your pulse, your email and phone, your hair, and anything reflective with the exception of his mirrored sunglasses. Dress for sex, for success, to impress. Don't forget to wear clean underwear. Remember what your mother told you about reckless drivers and crosswalks. Cross with the light. Cross your heart and hope to die of embarrassment if he ever sees you crossing your heart. Hide the doodles, the scrolled hearts on binders and spiral notebooks covers containing the swirly equation of your initials in a place so secure that even you have trouble remembering where it is. Cover your ass. Remember, he doesn't even know you're alive.
I love that those things are so good as if they're like reassuring. Don't worry. That doesn't really exist. Okay, I think I know which one I'm gonna do. This is kind of like, for some reason, it's a little pick holder. Thinking about youth in Pennsylvania when I grew up. Oh, this is another closeted song. Yeah, I did. I had to go through a lot of shit first. Yeah, this is from it's a long story and it's a violent story, but it's basically a love song to somebody who didn't know that he really helped me come out, but he did, and now he's in prison for doing something really bad. So it's like balancing just reckoning that he exists and that I love him and that he did something so crazy, so bad. Anyway, he and his boyfriend, Scott and Sean, they had a solo flex in their house in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And they would just keep all their clothes on it. They never worked out with it, but it was just there. And I was just like, okay, like maybe I could be this. Maybe this could be me. But my ray of hope, my slippery slope, my words unsaid, my splash of red, my dream roll, my gentle soul. My secret past, my home at last, my favorite host, my handsome ghost, my easy friend, my violin pen. I miss your quiet voice, talking trash, your ponytail, your mustache, your duplex, your solo flex. I think you know I never sent my exile, my torment, my answers that I'll never get. I miss your cigarettes, your small hands, your bobby pins, your black hands, your flex, your solo flex, your solo flex.
It's like toilet paper. I'm not sure. Oh,
Fancy toilet paper.
So I'm gonna do a couple of shorter ones here. This is a road trip into my city. This is called the Plate Spinner Falters. In the beginning, he thought it was the sticks and poles conspiring against him. Tired of what they considered to be the thankless task of pulling more weight than he. It was a theory he was unprepared, unwilling to test, examining them with an eagle eye for splits and curves, a hollowing out. All those revolutions, he never saw vertigo waiting in the wings like an anxious understudy. Now, if he even looks at a ladder, he must find the lowest, flattest surface on which to sprawl while the ceiling twirls in the opposite direction. And all he really wants to do is curl up in a fetal position so round and tight, he would be mistaken for a cat's eye marble. This is called rent. The check is always, usually, sometimes, often late. Either the money's there or it's not. The amount fluctuates depending on what came in, what went out. Debt and death, fees and penalties are certainties. Shelter, less so. Dare I ask, the daddy longlegs, the pillbugs, the silverfish and swarming ants, the centipedes and palmetto bugs to pay their share? What about the pale chameleon corpses that litter the ground beneath the desk of this office where the blinds are drawn from dawn to dark? Do they have rights? Do I? Renting time in this broken body, tenant and landlord. I can't tear myself away, rent the fabric like a dazed mourner here until the next pogrom or plague, rate increase or revolution.
I think that one of the things that I really that made me write this song is the song that I wanted to do after reading your poems. It was just thinking about wondering about things, and what their experience is. And a lot of times there's just sort of like inanimate things, but just like wondering about the life of them. And I wrote this when years ago, my husband, Larry Crone, had an art show at Pierogi Gallery, which at the time was in Williamsburg. And Larry's studio is his apartment. So I spend a lot of time living with his work, and I love his work. So there was something about seeing it hung so beautifully, and also just like, I don't know, I just found myself like, you know, there was a hustle and bustle of like an art opening and just people around and everybody talking about it. And then toward the end of the show, I just was there for some reason. It was just me and all this work. And I just really, this song came from just like what that feeling was. Okay. It's called Pierogi. It's been more than a month since we left you here alone with strangers. It took more than a month to get a moment to ourselves. And I wonder what this has been like for you. I wonder what it's like to carry all our expectations. I wonder, are you proud? Are you tired? Are you disappointed? Do you care? Are you ready to come home? Do you like it here? Are you glad it's almost over? Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you bored? I won't ever hear your answer, but I love you even more. And I wonder what this has been like for you. And I wonder how you remember this years after we're gone. I wonder, do you know that I'm here? Do you need people to like you? Are you shy? Are you tired of this scene? Is this fun? Has it changed you? Have you had enough of hearing people telling other people what you mean? I won't ever hear your answer, but I love you even more. I may never hear your answer, but whatever it is, I love you. I love you. I love you even more.
Yeah, I do wonder about the license thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's, what's really going on? And I'm sorry if I said anything to offend you. So I'm gonna read a couple of Florida poems. That's where I live. Please. Oh, don't pray, because I don't believe in praying. But think good thoughts. Like send us.
Yeah.
We need so many good thoughts and vibes. We really do. This is called South Beach Sonnet. The first time you see a blue land crab crossing Ocean Drive, you aren't hungry or cautious enough. I'm sorry. You aren't hungry or curious enough to chase it. But you remember the pale ombre of the claw when it comes time to paint your office or the guest room. It wasn't like the first time you saw the orb at the Betsy Hotel and couldn't stop dreaming of fluffy omelets, crab meat omelets. All of this comes after the story you tell about finding the crab under the outdoor sink in the backyard, waving or shaking its fist at you before you even imagined anything of the sort was possible. You were still getting used to iguanas and egrets, peacocks and palmetto bugs, the occasional legless lizard slithering through the freshly cut grass where you walk the dog. Now you read every menu with suspicion, arch an eyebrow at the daily special descriptions, consider veganism. So this poem was written, actually this book came out before Barbie Mania.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I must have been prescient, so I included this poem, this Barbie poem in the book. I did it first. This is called So Flow Barbie Rescue. The worst part about living in South Florida isn't elder abuse or vaccine hesitancy, humidity or hurricanes. It's all the orphaned Barbies in various stages of undress and distress, piled like junkyard cars at American Thrift, Goodwill, and Picasso resale. Knotted, discolored, and hacked hair, ink-stained skin, and sharpied pubic region, missing a limb with a double mastectomy. At least the queens who shop it out of the closet on Wilton Drive know how to make Barbie feel loved, valued again. Take her home to mid-century architecture and decor. Bathe her in Calgon. Shampoo her damaged locks with Caristate's Discipline Bane Fluid Elise. Massage coconut oil into her cracking scalp. Apply Lancome Hydrazine to her visage. Christian Louboutin silky satin lip color to make her perpetual smirk even more desirable. Kissable. Nothing but Chanel Le Vernis tints her finger and toenails. A diminutive white gold Rolex Oyster perpetual day date 36 with diamond paved dial, diamond set bezel, and a diamond set president bracelet wrapped around her slender taper hips. Tiffany diamond studs for her ears and matching diamond platinum pendant for her throat. Dressed to the nines, Stuart Weitzman Cinderella slippers adorn her perfectly pedicured and arched feet. Only vintage Valentino or Karl Lagerfeld will do when it comes to her gowns, to be worn on the red carpet at galas or picking up a few nibbles at Sprouts.
I love both of those. This is a song that I recorded as a duet with Larry on my third record, but we've only performed it once because it was a disaster when we did, but it was inspired by, there's this collection of comics called the Meat Cake Bible. And it was the thing for Bushwick Book Club, and I had to read it, but it really upset me. It just was so like, I just, the experience of reading it was really hard. But two of the comics, like the one was about, this is why I thought about this with the Barbies, was like this girl, like a young girl who just keeps getting kicked out of therapy offices because she's like mean and like hits them and stuff. And then, and I really, like I have, as a person whose job is, one of my jobs as a therapist, I just think about that with kids. It's like they come in and they're so hurt. And, you know, therapy is a place where, you know, hopefully they can be themselves. But I just imagine like somebody getting kicked out for being too mad. And then there was this other one that was like how to do CPR. And it was just like, there's something about the beautiful woman who was receiving the CPR looked so like docile. And I just thought about like girls and just like that particular kind of the horrors, I guess the horrors of being a girl. Okay. So if I slept your face, could you handle it? If I broke everything in this place, would you notice it? If I threw if I fell to the ground, if I wrapped in pain, would you let me stay? If my needs were sprained, if I didn't complain, if I stopped my heart, if I almost died, could your lips touch mine? Could your lips touch mine?
And I meant to ask you, the Solar Flex song is on the Beautiful Enemy record?
No,
Oh, it's on the new one.
I can't stop trying.
Yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
new, oh, we gotta hear the new record. I can't stop trying. And he's got the t-shirt right
Yeah.
there. It's amazing, really great record. So I'm gonna just read two more.
Okay.
Yeah, these are, okay, I'm not, feel free to laugh. If you, I mean, there's, I mean, I don't want to be like a downer, but okay, I mean, there's some fun. Okay, it's weird, this is the first time in my life that I've actually got two poems with the same title. I have a poem, there's a new anthology that came out at the beginning of this year called Let Me Say This, a Dolly Parton poetry anthology. And it's all poems by Dolly Parton. And so I have a poem in there, and then I have this poem that has the same title. It's just not intentional. This has nothing to do with dog park. So this is called Spirit of 76. If I kept a diary in 1976, pages would glow as bright and ominously as the sky on the cover of Hotel California, hot as a mafia car bomb. Too busy to write it all down, I danced in brightly colored underwear in my shared bedroom to songs in the key of life, lip syncing to every number on Songs for the New Depression. For pocket money, I found a job at Maxwell Plums, where I hourly vacuumed the mauve carpeting, stocked the shelves and racks with the latest in suburban women's fashions. I got better at pretending not to notice when one of the two brothers who co-owned the business emerged from the office with a Coke flowered mustache. I know I'm gay, but today, when I grew tired of the subtle abuse and coked up rages, I sought new employment at the county seat, the blue jeans store, not the government office. Here is a list of what I fell in love with. Music in WXRT that played on the ceiling mounted speakers, learning how to be a window dresser, the computerized cash register, the diversity of dinner, what an employee discount can do to a paycheck. My manager, Mike's MG midget, and the rides home after closing. I know I'm gay, but is he? We go to the same high school, and I want to be his prom date, but that will have to wait for another century. When we go to see A Star Is Born, I have to hide my tears, but he doesn't hide his boredom. I know better than to talk about Mary Hartman, while we're folding 501s, both soft pre-washed and stiff unwashed, putting turtlenecks and Levi's jackets on hangers. I want to kiss him in each of the dressing rooms, 2 pairs of feet visible below the swinging louver doors. Listen to the erotic pop of his button fly. I know I'm gay, shiny and new as a bicentennial quarter. And I'm going to close with the last poem is the last poem in the book. This is, again, thanks so much to Jim. I'm so honored and grateful. Thank you to Donnie and Greg. You guys are the best. Thank you for coming out, you guys. You guys are amazing too. Thank you. This is questions about the end of the world from my backyard. Did I do something wrong? Why are the lizards walking backwards? Was the slap heard around the world really heard around the world? Did anyone else feel it? Am I the only one? Is an untended garden still a garden? What will happen to the accountants? Do dead leaves count as currency for tax purposes? Or must they be green and crisp as lettuce? How hot is too hot? Will the blisters heal? Will there be scars? Do the robots know? How do we redefine hunger, thirst, survival? Is there life on Mars? Did David Bowie take the answer to his grave? What if we substitute don't say gay with don't say pray? Must we listen to songs from the Armageddon soundtrack? Even the deep cuts? Why hasn't Diane Warren ever won enough? Is anyone immune? What's that noise? Did they replace Vladimir Putin's heart with a copy of Mein Kampf? Or was it just a worn out Memorex cassette tape recording of the Internationale? Did he ever have human emotions to begin with? Has anyone ever seen Donald Trump dance? Who was pulling the strings? Will the orchids be the first to go? What will remain? The light. Maybe the light remains. to show the others what happened, so they won't repeat the same stupid and selfish mistakes, even as it falters, fades.
Boy, do I. That just reminded me that I wish I would have. I did this song I wrote a song about 3 years ago about Donald Trump's ass. You know, it's like everybody makes fun of his ass, but I'm like, he has this like enormous like. I guess I came up with this theory that like if he had a different relationship with his ass and he'd become like the most popular bottom in town, that he might not have done. what he did.
What was that?
It was called the most popular bottom in town. What
What
did
was
he
it
do?
that he didn't do?
There are like 90 something counts right now.
Oh, okay,
Great.
okay.
This song is a duet with my honey that's going to be on the record that is going to come out early next year. I think you should be there and I'll be here. Yeah, we'll share. Yeah, we'll share. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gregg Shapiro. What a fucking pleasure to meet you and know you. And thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. See you again. And let me just tune this. This song, it's in response to a poem by a woman named Esther Matthew. And it was about being a New Yorker. What happens to where do New Yorkers go when they die? And I just sort of let my mind go to like what I would want. And I decided that I would want to be part of the city still. And also just keep an eye out for Larry.
Oh.
So it's called Manhattan Henge. We should switch because I have this. Okay. Anyway, this song. Just kidding.
I'll be Manhattan and the spring. I will make this whole town shine so pretty. I will become all the things you love in New York City.
Be a late night gyro on your way home, and the sidewalk that you walk on when you eat it. I'll be a Sunday morning when you're sleeping in, and the window that you look through when you greet it. When you hate it here, I'll be your perfect weather. And the fireworks in July that scare the dog but make my man feel better. If you're outside one day and you think you see me, let's decide it will actually be me. I have found a way to come say hi. I know it makes no sense, but can't we try? I'll be a flicker in their eyes. I will be a feeling, they said. I'm still here.
I love you. I'm right here.
Thanks. I get some of my phone when they take a picture of me and Jim
Oh, yeah.
just standing. But the famous goes.
Yes.
Can we try the experiment? Let's try the experiment.
Oh, yeah.
So you're supposed to touch that side.
Night, everyone.